motoring on okay, but as you've already said, Michael, I think there's a few more stories to be told as this night goes on.
Yeah, and the thing that may end up coming back to haunt Kelly Fisher is that when she did lose a match earlier today against Niels Fine, it was 5-0. Now that's obviously the worst possible result you can have in terms of the Racks countback, which will come into play if players are tied on the number of matches won. So we'll guide you through it all. We'll explain how the qualification picture is shaping up as we go along. What we do know is that Darren Appleton needs to find his mojo again. Got off to a great start today, beat Billy Thorpe 5-0, but since then it's been 3 defeats on the bounce. Be interesting as well to see how Alcaide responds to his situation. Will he maybe take his eye off the ball a little bit, knowing that he's through to the semi-finals? I would think not. I would say the other option is more likely, that he'll see this as good opportunity after so long away from tournament action with what's been going on in the world, to get some more matches and hopefully for him some more wins under his belt going into those semi-finals. Darren Appleton gets us underway.
So he's changed his break. He's gone head on.
Push out called.
Nearly lost the cue ball into the side. Just watch again. So it's a bad break whenever the cue ball tracks over towards them side pockets. You know, at this level, we do class that as a bad break between us all. The idea is you try and pack the cue ball in the centre of the table. Yeah, Darren beat Billy Thorpe 5-0. I mean, on paper it looks fantastic, but it was one of them types of matches where he won the match, but he didn't really have to do that much. I mean, he won the first 2 racks, potting 3 balls, and since then he's just looked a little bit out of sorts. So I've always felt like sometimes it's good to win one of them close hill matches where you've felt, you know, the pressure, and you've had to knock in, let's say, a couple of long shots and something else where you can, it really helps you settle down. So just the mannerism he won against Billy probably has not helped him settle down just yet. Nice opening shot from David there.
Yeah, he's got to be absolutely full of confidence, hasn't he? Winning all 4 matches today, and been going for some very ambitious shots and pulling them off. He's just got to stick at it in this format. As I say, he got off to a bad start yesterday, but he didn't let his head drop as 1 or 2 others perhaps have. And here he is now, heading for the semi-finals, and the way he's playing, in with a great chance of winning this group. And he must have been so keen to get going. He arrived on Sunday morning but had to wait a full 48 hours, more than that actually, before playing his first match. But clearly thoroughly enjoying it all now. Two-time winner of the World Masters, that's probably the first thing you'd say about him. Won it in 2017, beat Jason Shaw in the final, and an equally dramatic conclusion against Alex Kazakis in 2019. And of course, because the event wasn't played last year for obvious reasons, he's still the holder of what is one of the most prestigious titles in the sport.
Yeah, he's a nice player to watch, is David. Gets on with it, attacks the table, a good potter of the ball, very easy on the eye. Yeah, so Darren could have played a push out. Well, he did play a push out, and then he kicked at it and it just kind of stuck its face out, and David played a nice shot on the 1 ball, and then after that it was a bit of a roadmap, and he's took them well.
He's someone who's never been one of the very best players, Carl. He's always been sort of nearly the best, as we say. He's won the World Masters a couple of times, but he's never been able to establish himself in the Mosconi Cup team and hasn't quite forced himself into that very top bracket.
Yeah, I mean it's a tricky one really because, well, there you see table 2, Albin's playing Kelly. Yeah, it's a tricky one because, you know, some of the top players, what we class as the top, you know, the elite level, you know, they've decided that they're going to travel around the world playing in pool tournaments to earn their living, and you know, it probably doesn't get spoke about much, but not everybody wants to do that, and I think David comes in that bracket where, you know, he does have a family, and I think he's had businesses, and don't get me wrong, I'm not sure if he's still got a business now. I know he does snooker commentary and things, and yeah, it's just not everyone's cup of tea. So if you're not prepared
Rack
to
number 2.
put the air miles in,
David Alcaide to break.
it's pretty difficult to be
Leading 1 rack to
getting
nil.
in that top tier bracket.
But he has made the relatively short journey to England for this event. I'm sure he's very glad he has now, the way he's playing. And off to a good start here, 1-0 up, and with the break in the second rack.
Yeah, so balls potted. Poor cue ball control on the break has left him this testing 2 ball. You can see the difference there. If he'd have parked the cue ball in the centre of the table, he would have a nice shot on this 2, and now it's up near the top rail. He's got a horrible shot on the 2. Decides to chip off it, puts the 2 ball on the bottom rail. Did try and get the cue ball behind the row of 3 balls that you see, didn't manage that. He's got distance, but he's up against one of the best safety players we've ever seen.
He can pot them too, of course, in a straight pool event against Francisco Bustamante a few years ago. He potted 200 balls in a row. Won the match by 200 to 1.
So at first glance, I think he's just going to... He's either going to chip the 2 or the cue ball over towards the 7 and try and find this gap. And there you can see a big wall of balls, but this is dangerous because he might not be able to see the 2, but because it's near the rail, we do often see the players go in one rail and kick this ball down the rail to make it. And if David can do that, the cue ball will naturally come over to the right side of the table. So this has to be marked down as a little bit of a chance for David. He's going rail first, but he's hit it way too fat. But he's had Daz might be able to see the potting angle, to be fair. At first I thought maybe he'd got the full ball hook.
I think one more roll of the 2 ball and he probably would have done.
Not the easiest of shots when you've been struggling. If he is playing the pot, which he isn't, you can tell with the speed of the table. Might not be able to see the potting angle, so there you see again another good hook shot from Darren. Always plays the table with good speed.
You mentioned he does a bit of television snooker commentary, Carl. Well, David Alcaide has played snooker at a pretty high level, actually. The Gibraltar Open tournament a couple of years ago, which is a world ranking snooker event. He came through the qualifying rounds and took a frame off Dave Gilbert, who went on to reach the World Championship semi-finals only a few weeks later. So that was a decent feather in his cap. Francisco Sanchez Ruiz, his World Cup pool partner, is an even better snooker player.
That was a nice shot there from David. He was trying to hit it a little bit higher and get the cue ball wedged in behind them 3 balls, but he was playing the 2 ball off the side rail to land on the bottom rail, so that was a nice shot. Darren's just trying to get the cue ball over towards the 7. And there you see again, nice speed control. Davy's got the jump cue out, so he's going to be jumping over the 7 ball, trying to put the 2 ball in the corner, and the cue ball, if he does pop this ball, should go up the table. Be careful of the scratch. And now this is a chance for Darren, so 3 good safety shots on the spin for Daz has created an opportunity for him to get on the board.
We were talking in Darren Appleton's previous match, Carl, about some of the big events he's won. He was the first British winner of the US Open in 2010. Won it again the following year. He's been World 9-ball champion, World 10-ball champion. But we should also mention that he's won the Chinese 8-ball World Championship. And just as I'm talking about his great successes, he's gone and had another uncharacteristic lapse.
Yeah, that's a poor miss from Darren, that. I mean, you've got to be knocking them in. He knows that better than anyone.
The confidence just draining away from him. And just to finish what I was saying about that, the Chinese 8-ball World Championship, it was the first year it was played, a lot of money put into it. It is different from English 8-ball, and a lot of the top snooker players played in it, including Mark Selby, who was World Snooker Champion at the time. He actually faced Darren Appleton in the final, but Appleton won and pocketed around $100,000. But it looks like this is catching here, Carl.
Yeah, it's been an unusual week for misses, really, because usually when players miss the balls, usually they get punished and often get punished in the next rack, but I've seen a lot of the players miss easy balls this week, and they've actually gone on to win the rack. I mean, not every time, but a few times they have. So he's going 1 rail, kicks this in, comes round for the 6. So Darren's been let off the hook in this rack.
Alban Ocean, quick out of the traps on the other table. He's got the simplest of 9 balls sitting over the corner pocket to go 2-0 up there against Kelly Fisher. As I was saying, Ocean has only got 1 win from 4. Fisher in better shape. She's got 2 wins out of 3. So Darren Appleton has had a bit of a let-off here, but he really needed to get a rack on the board. Didn't really care how he did it. And with that, Darren Appleton levels with David Alcaide at 1 rack apiece.
Yeah, Darren's gone over to his case and he's had a change of pull shaft. Not so sure what that's about, but he's changed the shaft.
I mentioned that lucrative win he had out in China. His total career prize money is about $1.25 million, so he's in or around the all-time top 10 money winners. Where would you say he's at in his career now, Carl? Do you see him winning many more big events?
I mean, it would be a fair call to say he's, you know, on the decline, if that's the right way to put it. And what I mean by that is, obviously, you know, when he went on that winning streak and won, you know, his US Opens and World 9-ball championships, you kind of, you have that sort of purple patch, don't you? And it's hard to see you kind of doing that again. I mean, to be honest, you do need a little bit of a luck in pool, and You know, when the guys who win them big majors, they're not easy to win. You know, when you look at the likes of Efren Reyes, Ralph Souquet, they've won one World 9-ball championship. So, you know, they've probably played in 20 or 30 of them. So that just tells you its own little story. You know, Alex Pagulayan's won one. Just so hard to dominate in pool because you do need that element of luck. So, you know, he's 45, I think he is, and you know, we've got the young guys on tour now, and you've got the desire. He's always got the desire to win for sure, but I just think over the last few years the silly misses have creeped into his game, and I think you've also seen that with Ralph. And you know, when you look at the Catchy and Federgorst and Filler and Jason Shaw, they don't really miss them kind of silly balls because they're in the prime of their career. So I would certainly say he's at the end of it, but he's got the desire to compete and try and win. And yeah, I mean, I wouldn't be shocked if there was another big win.
Just start the clock again, please. Thank you.
Hasn't won the World 8-ball, although he was world #1 ranked in that discipline. Been in the final a couple of times. One of those, it was actually Mark Selby who beat him, who of course has gone on to be world snooker champion 3 times. Kelly Fisher is up and running on the other table. She's just about to close to 2-1 down against Alban Ocean.
Yeah, and I'm not saying at 45 years of age you can't win a tournament. Of course you can, but it comes down to the desire. You know, how fit do you keep yourself, how much practice are you willing to put in. Darren doesn't have any children, so he's not got the pain of that.
Pain and joy in equal measure.
Yeah.
Sort of bouncing around the table, David Alcaide. That's generally his demeanour anyway, but more so today with the day he's having. And this is the great thing about a format like this. The matches come thick and fast, and it's great if you're winning them. You just feel better and better as the day goes on. David Alcaide will be feeling pretty good about this match now. Just completing the formalities of this 3rd rack. Some way to go yet in this match, but looking good at the moment to preserve his 100% record in this group. David Alcaide of Spain leads England's Darren Appleton by 2 racks to 1, and he'll have the break in rack 4 in a moment.
Sporting events should not be held until there are no new cases.
Well, that's right up there with the No crowd, but who needs them?
Just in terms of pure potting ability, he's just one of the best we've ever seen.
Oh my word. Incredible.
What a power-packed partnership it is. Start the engraving process.
Welcome back to Milton Keynes, not far from London, home of so much top quality live sport over the last 9 months or so. Many of the biggest events in the world of snooker. There's been darts here as well, and of course the MK Dons have still been playing League One football at Stadium MK. This week it's the turn of pool and the Championship League, and today so far it's been the turn of David Alcaide to shine. He's won all 4 of his matches and he's leading Darren Appleton 2-1 in his 5th as he starts us off again in rack 4.
Another nice break there, wing ball straight into the corner, and he has a shot at this one ball. Key shot to the rack, looks like it's going to be this one, because he's got to try and get back across for the pink 4 ball. Two ways of playing this. He could play for the pink 4 in the same pocket, or he could play for it in the bottom right pocket. So he's playing for the bottom right. Looks like he's had a couple of big bounces there, and I think he played it that way because he took out the element of the scratch. This is all about focusing on the pot. Might even use the green 6 as a stopper because it's quite a big angle, so let's see if he uses that 6. Just watch the cue ball off the rail. It's the 6 full ball that will hold position. Played it nice.
I was talking earlier about his World Cup partner, Francisco Sanchez Ruiz. They've made up the Spain team for the last few years in that event and had Spain's best ever showing last time out at the Morningside Arena in Leicester in the summer of 2019. Went in as 7th seeds and reached the semis for the first time. They beat Australia and Finland in the early rounds. Close matches, both of them. Then they took on the very strong Great Britain team of Jason Shaw and Chris Melling in the quarterfinals. They won that as well, 9-6, and the run eventually ended in the semis against Austria, who went on to win it. And it made up in some way for the previous year when they'd come within 1 rack of reaching the semi-finals in Shanghai before bowing out to, again, the eventual winners, China. But that is a chink in the armour.
That is incredible. He's got a long straight 6. He's won 4 out of 4. He's obviously feeling good, and he's put a little quick one in. This is give Daz a little lifeline, and he's played the bank and he's played it nice. Cue ball's coming around off 3. That's perfect.
Well, David Alcaide was looking so solid that we just didn't see that miss on the 6 coming. But once Darren Appleton had seen it, he was quickly out of his chair. And having looked as though he was probably heading 3-1 down only about 90 seconds ago, he's now back on level terms. Darren Appleton equalises for the second time in the match. It's 2 racks all.
Yeah, it's still all to play for in Group 3. 4 players have won 1 match. Fortunski's only played 3 and he's won 1. He's up next on table 2 against Albin Ocean.
Yeah, Fortunski currently bottom of the table. He actually finished top of the round robin section yesterday. As I was saying, David Alcaide, when Fortunski was winning all those matches at the start of Group 2, he was struggling down near the bottom of the table himself. And this is what happens in this format. So many reversals of fortune, up and down, all the way through. You've just got to hope that somewhere along the way you can win one of the groups, find yourself still here for the big climax next Monday. It's also 2-2 on the other table between Albin Ocean and Kelly Fisher, who's hanging on very nicely there, looking for her 3rd win from 4.
Number 5.
Runner-up, of course, in yesterday's group.
2 racks all.
So Darren Appleton to the break, get this 5th rack underway. There you see he parks the cue ball, so it's in the centre, and it's a rare dry break.
Yeah, got the cue ball right. Shame about the rest of it. The 1 actually came pretty close to going into the side, but I don't think anything else threatened the pockets.
Yeah, David, in an exhibition, you'd play this shot. You'd play it off the rail, off the green 6, into the corner. Also, he could play a very, very easy hook shot. Bounce to 1. Yeah, just like this. Needs to stop though. Wow. I mean, he should have been rolling the cue ball right through, in behind the 2 balls. He played it the other way. So a bit of lapse in concentration at the moment, Michael, from David.
Yeah, his last 2 shots have been arguably the 2 worst he's played all day. The miss on the 6th ball in the previous rack, and now what we've just seen there. And suddenly, maybe a chance for Appleton to hit the front for the first time.
Albin Ocean is locked in a battle with Kelly Fisher. It's currently 2 racks to 2.
We've seen it a few times already when a player is struggling. So often it can just take 1 result to turn around the group. And it will be a particularly good result for Appleton if he could win this match, given the form Alcaide's been in. And that can be a turning point for him. He'll still have 1 more match to come. Bit of a wait before he plays Mieszko Fortunski.
Yeah, he's overdrawn the cue ball there. He's come way too far back. So now he's left him a little thin one. And he needs to play this a little bit slow because the green 6 is his next ball. Yeah, it was a nice shot. Has he got an angle? What type of angle has he got here? You might have to play a long draw shot here and just come back down the table for the 7 in the bottom right corner. Yeah, I mean, he's overdone it again. He needs the 7 to go in the side. He definitely didn't play this. So if it goes in the side, it should be okay.
You think bridging over the 7 there made that slightly harder?
Yeah, and the sheer fact that it's just not quite at the races as well, where it's such a field shot. Oh, so it did go in the side, but he's lost the cue ball, and he's been... I say he's been lucky, but he's hooked. I mean, I thought at first he was going to scratch Michael.
Yeah, and that really would have been end of rack. At least this way he gets to play the next shot, and at least theoretically has the opportunity to salvage the rack. Ball in hand, it would have been 3-2 for sure. Oh, that's one way to salvage it.
Yeah, it was a nice jump shot. Cue ball was always going to go kind of up towards the table, but the main object of the shot was to pot the 8, and this is a big bank shot now. He's already made a bank shot like this against Billy Thorpe in the opener, and this is a big shot, this.
Oh, it's running over the middle. Well, David Alcaide made a length of the table bank shot with the last shot of the World Masters when he won it last year. But Darren Appleton's failure to do the same means Alcaide is in with a simple finish here to lead once again at 3 racks to 2.
Yeah, I mean, it weren't a bad effort for the bank, to be fair. It run close, and unfortunately for Darren, it just come and sneaked over the side. So that's a chance gone.
So Alcaide 3-2 up, and he has the break, but remarkably, in all 5 racks so far, the player who's had the break has lost the rack. That's definitely not been the tone or the theme of this week.
Yeah, just looking at Darren there, he looks a bit despondent, and you know, just make sure you get yourself back here tomorrow. You know, the beauty of this tournament, Michael, is you're going to get loads of matches. It's not the end of the world if you don't make the semis. Just don't finish last.
Yeah, Chris Robinson went out on the opening day. He lost all of his first 5. He did get a win in his last match, but it was too late to make any difference by then. And yesterday, of course, Ralph Souquet, a late replacement for Joshua Filler. Well, he lost all 6. So they're the only 2 players eliminated so far. Still 17 players, many of whom we haven't actually seen yet in the running for this title.
And it's gone from bad to worse because David's broke off. He's potted 2 balls. And the 1 ball's come round off 2 rails, landed on the side rail, and he's got a shot at this, so I mean, it's not an easy shot. He's got to get down table for the blue 2. What's next? Blue 2 goes in both corners. I think he's going to be spinning this round off the 3 rails. No, he's just come round to have a look. Alvin's took the lead over Kelly Fisher on table 2. It's currently 3-2, and he is at the table with what looks like a pretty good chance. So decides to draw the cue ball back off 1. That is often a very dangerous shot, and he's executed that pretty nice.
Hasn't been a break and run out yet in this match. What a lovely time this would be from David Alcaide's point of view to deliver the first, take himself to the hill. And then that would leave him on the brink of a 5th straight victory, and he'd go into that last match against Kelly Fisher with a chance to make it the perfect 6, which nobody has done so far in this tournament. I was saying earlier, he became the first player from Spain ever to feature in the Mosconi Cup 15 years ago this year. That was in the tied match in Rotterdam. He had a chance to win it for Europe actually in the last match, but lost to Corey Jewell, and the tie was enough for the Americans to retain the trophy. And then Alcaide wasn't back in the team for 11 years, but a much happier experience then, having waited so long for it. He won 4 out of his 5 matches as Europe won in Las Vegas, quite comfortably in fact, and that was the last of their streak of 8 in a row. But a reprieve for Appleton here. Not only has Alcaide missed the 7, he stuck it up. This is probably going to be 3-3 here. So incredibly, it looks as though after 6 racks, we still won't have anyone breaking in a rack and winning it. And I don't just mean no breaking runs. Every rack so far has gone to the player who didn't have the break. And so, having trailed 3 times, Darren Appleton has now equalised 3 times. Alcaide 3, Appleton 3. They both need 2 more when we come back.
This championship is being played with the new Aramith tournament set. Featuring a unique molecular structure, it guarantees razor-sharp precision and unsurpassed longevity. Unquestionably the best pool balls in the world, this set is available in a TV and a value pack version, as well as in the new My Aramith Ranger of Ball and cue cases. Now you can bring and play with the best ball set everywhere you go. My Aramith, bringing new dimensions to your billiards experience.
Darren Appleton still hanging in there in this match against David Alcaide, who's the leader of Group 3 in the Predator Championship League. Really looked like it was going 4-2 to Alcaide, but an astonishing lapse really on the 7 ball gave Appleton a chance to level for the 3rd time. Now he breaks off in the 7th rack.
this is a very useful break, and I'm sure Dazzy's as shocked as anyone to see the scoreline is 3-3. I mean, he's played pretty poor, to be fair, but he's still in this match, and this is a glorious opportunity. He's potted 4 balls off the break, 1 good shot in, this rack's over. Yeah, and he's passed that test, so that now pretty much kind of wraps this rack up, really. He's just got to make sure he gets a nice angle on the 8 to go down from the 9. And I don't know about you, Michael, but I don't really understand how Daz is on 4 racks and David's on 3.
It's amazing, isn't it? There's been all sorts of strange things happening here. It's only about 5 minutes ago it looked like it was going 4-2 to Alcaide. Now it's going to be Appleton on the hill first, and remarkably, this will be the first rack that's been won by the player who's had the break, or will it?
Well, I mean, I know we say it a lot and we probably shouldn't, but we're just so used to the guys running out the easy tables, and he's played such a bad shot from the 8 ball there. He's got to stay still, think on the 9. And he's missed it. David Alcaide's no stranger to a bank on the 9.
Yeah, we mentioned that, didn't we? The clinching shot in the World Masters, the final against Alex Kazakis last time out in Gibraltar in 2019.
Extension called.
Alban Ocean, by the way, just a couple of balls away from completing a 5-2 win over Kelly Fisher. That would be his 2nd win in a row, having lost his first 3.
Well, that weren't his finest attempt. Where's the cue ball going?
Oh, this is over, this rack, isn't it? What a let-off.
Yeah, so yet again, we can notch that one down where a player misses a ball near the end of the rack and still wins the rack. Incredible scenes, this. Yeah, I just want to take this moment to wish everyone here at the Predator Championship League pool our best wishes to the Black Widow, Jeanette Lee. She has been diagnosed with stage 4 ovarian cancer, and there is a GoFundMe page that's been set up. It's the Jeanette Lee Legacy Fund, so you can donate some money there. Whatever you've got, $1, $5, $50, it doesn't matter, just try and do your bit. She is a legend in the world of pool and a great character in the game of pool and all. Super nice lady. So best wishes to Jeanette Lee.
Yeah, I think there's some sort of raffle being organised, possibly in conjunction with Matchroom, to raise funds for that cause as well. So we'll try and find out some details of that and maybe give you those if you want to take part. Understand some sort of sporting experience package has been put together as the prize on offer in that, so trying to find some details, as I say. What an extraordinary match this has been. Darren Appleton made 4 balls off the break in the last rack. Looked like he'd messed it up, but what a let off he had. So he's on the hill. Alcaide has got the break.
Yeah, and obviously David's won 4 out of 4. I'm not saying, you know, he's playing bad on purpose. I mean, of course he's not, but is there a little bit of that fight gone out of his game because he knows his job done, he's through to the semi-finals? But what he's got to remember is there's other players in the group, and you know, they probably need David to win.
Push out called.
David calls the push out.
Well, you wouldn't try to pick the winner of this now, would you, Carl? The way it's gone, it's been so unpredictable and still so close, obviously.
Yeah, so David tried the jump shot there. Wasn't an easy jump shot. And Darren's at the table. It's a long, tricky one ball. It is a small chance though. And Albin Ocean beat Kelly Fisher on table 2, so he's now on 2 wins. So this makes this match even more important.
And Ocean is straight back on that table actually in the next few minutes to play Mieszko Fortuński, so he's got a bit of momentum now. Lost his first 3, but he's won 2 in a row. Beat Darren Appleton just before the break, and then an hour later returned to the table and has seen off Kelly Fisher. And for her, that continues actually something of a pattern she's had in all the groups. She started them all well and then faded a bit. Sort of continued to fade in Group 1, but in Group 2 last night she turned it on again towards the finish and ended up in the final. So her next match is against Billy Thorpe on this table, probably in around an hour or so from now.
Well, you called it, Michael, didn't you? You said it's not quite over this match, there's more drama. I mean, Daz has probably made 5 or 6 glaring errors. And it's not over yet, like you say. I was going to say just one good shot, but I think I better stop saying stuff like that. We are getting to the end of day 3, just when the pressure in the matches start to get tweaked up a notch. I mean, not for David Alcaide, he's through to the semi-finals, so he's fine.
And that's the thing, it looks to me like it's the absence of that pressure that's maybe just taken away a bit of the intensity he was showing earlier on. It would explain a lot in terms of how this match has unfolded.
So David's got this 7 ball to come down for the 8 and the 9 to take this match to Hill. And for the impartial fan in this match, 4-4 is probably a fair result.
Yeah, it's had the look all the way, hasn't it, of a match that was quite likely to go hill, and indeed it has. David Alcaide looking to continue his 100% start. It's much more important, though, to Darren Appleton, because he really needs the win. He's going to have to win the last rack to do it, but he will have the break.
There's Neil's firing the Terminator. He's got his earpods in. He makes his own music, so I'm guessing he's got his own tune blasting through the pods.
What sort of music does he do?
Well, it's not classical, let me tell you that. No,
Bit of Euro dance, maybe?
Yeah, he's into all the techno. Often, you know, when we've been to the Mosconis and we've gone to the after party, Neil's always used to vanish behind the decks, and he'd spend his night playing all the music. Well, we all got in a bit of a mess, to be fair.
Well, that would be very much the Dutch scene, wouldn't it? 2 Unlimited and Technotronic, all those sort of acts. They're all Dutch, aren't they?
Well, you sound like you're into this type of music yourself, Michael.
I just keep my eye on what's going on, Carl.
Darren Appleton to break.
We've got all our eyes now on this final rack. A big one for Darren Appleton. 4-4.
Yeah, this is a big break. Is it your day, Darren? So he's hit him clean. Oh, and it's not your day. He's hit a good break there and all. Probably his best break of the day.
Foul. Ball in hand.
Look at the cue ball. Comes over to the side rail. Random ball kicks it all the way up the long rail.
Well, the break's been a curse in this match.
Yeah, you need that little bit of good luck at the right time, and you know, this is not over. You've still got to get position onto the 2. This is very easy to hit this shot and then leave your next shot tricky, so key shot coming up.
Well, ordinarily, over the last couple of days, we'd almost have been marking this down as 5-4 now. But after everything we've seen in this match, we won't be doing that. And really, I just can't believe that after mentioning 2 unlimited, I didn't start the final rack by saying, get ready for this.
Is Phil Yates back?
Thankfully not, Carl. I can tell you, one thing he wouldn't know anything about would be Euro dance and techno music.
Phil Yates is, of course, doing the snooker commentary at the moment. That's why he's not sat with us. Yeah, so Daz. I mean, listen, you cannot win all the tournaments Darren Appleton's won without getting your fair share of pool rolls. Unfortunately, when he needed one in this match, he didn't find it, so he just needs a glaring error from his opponent, and there's been glaring errors in this match, so you just never know.
So it looks as though Appleton is going to be on 1 win from 5. It may well be that he can't make the semis now. One thing he's got to do, as you said earlier, Carl, just make sure he's here tomorrow. In order to do that, he has to avoid finishing bottom of the table. His one remaining match is against Mieszko Fortuński.
Yeah, Fortuński's in a bit of a tricky spot in this group and all. Of course, he played probably the best pool along with Kachi yesterday, and today it's been a bit of a struggle.
Yeah, 1 win out of 3 for him, and he's just lost the opening rack to Alban Ocean on the other table. But on this table, it's 5 wins out of 5 for David Alcaide. The 2-time World Masters champion continues his 100% start to this group. He's beaten Darren Appleton by 5 racks to 4.